All right. Hello. A little bit late on this video, and I'm going to try my hardest to make this probably like a 5 to 10 minute video. So when when I retire, whenever that is, it'll be earlier than 10 years, but probably not within like 3 or 4, maybe 5 years. Um, and I have some criteria for myself that I'll probably address in another video on uh, like my checklist that I'll need before I retire. But you know, if I retire at 55 or something like that, if I'm lucky, I'll live till I'm 80. Um, having what is that? 25 years. 25 years is a long time to basically not do anything. And there are like little like projects. There's things that I've always wanted to try. Um, And what I wanted to do is basically come up with a list of or a list of criteria for what I would consider a post retirement or early retirement, like post early retirement job. Um, so here we go. The first one is you're basically working for yourself, and you're not working for a paycheck. This could be if you're a handyman or an electrician, like say if you have some of that experience in the past, and you enjoy doing it, or you want to help out your neighbors or something like that, those are jobs that you could continue to work in, bring a little bit of income, and maybe not necessarily stress yourself out. Probably not going to do installations. You're not going to install plumbing. You're not going to install an HVAC system or anything like that. But if you need to do an inspection or charge the freon or the coolant, stuff like that, relatively easy, and get a few bucks at a time. It could also be something more artistic, like something I'm kind of considering. I haven't gone in that direction yet. Would be like bookbinding. Um, at least as of right now, it seems like it's could be a relatively small operation. I can do it when I want. I can put however many hours into it that I want to dedicate to it, and I'm not going to work for a bookbinding company. I'm just going to work for myself, maybe throw stuff on Etsy or any of these other uh, selling online sites, and just kind of go from there. But the whole point of it is autonomy. You want to keep your autonomy. If you want to go on a vacation, you can go whenever you want for however long you want, and it's not going to interrupt things that are going on in this job. If you just don't feel like going in one day, or maybe the weather's bad, like you're just not you're not being forced to do anything that you want that you don't want to do. And generally, working for an employer is going to make you want to do stuff um, that you may not necessarily want to do, or the time, or the weather, or anything like that. So that's the first criteria. Second criteria is you control the time, not the boss. You don't have a boss. And I kind of talked this a little bit. Is you can invest as much time and effort and money, or as little as you want. It's exactly what you want it to be. Um, yeah, that's point number two. Point number three: low stress, um, low physical demand. If you're in your mid 40s, 50s, 60s, or whenever you happen to retire. Like I said, you're probably, if you're working in HVAC just for a few bucks, at that point you're probably not installing a air conditioning system in an attic. Uh, you may not even want to work on air conditioning systems in Texas in the summertime. It's too damn hot. Um, but yeah, like as much as low stress as possible. You just spent your whole life having stress on whatever job you wanted, whether it was military, construction, law enforcement, fire, social boss, any of that stuff. And yeah, when you retire, you really want to kind of keep some of that stuff to like zero, if you can. So low stress, no demand, or low demand. Second one, generally it could be creative, or it should be creative. I think it should be creative, or at least helpful. Um, if you're a teacher, maybe you can be a tutor. If you work some kind of in the construction trades, you can kind of do that, and you can be helpful. You can help people install stuff, or you can teach them how to do it. Anything like that. If on the artistic side of things, if you wanted to paint, draw, watercolor, you could get into kind of the fine arts crafts, woodworking, but like very very like fine, fancy woodworking. Make furniture, but like very high end furniture. Bookbinding, that's could be artistic. Um, you could get into music, like all that stuff. And at one point, I wanted to learn guitar and just be that old gray hair guy that kind of sits out in the middle of the city and just plays for an hour or two, and throw my hat out there and people give me a couple of shekels. I always thought that'd be kind of cool, but that I kind of think that qualifies for a low demand, low stress, as many hours as you want to, artistic, kind of job. I think that qualifies as a retirement job. A funny one is my dad always wanted to sell beef jerky on the side of the road. He just kind of makes it whenever he wants, and he has a spot, puts a sign out, just kind of sits there and chills. Someone drives up, sells them some beef jerky, and it is what it is. Uh, that could be kind of fun. But yeah, that's number 4. Number 5, the job should pay for itself or at least be self-sustaining. So, uh, almost in any endeavor, like if you're just getting into like an art, there'll be some kind of material cost. You need paint brushes, maybe what do they call them, easel to hold the painting. You actually need to buy the board or whatever they put that you paint on. Um, so if you're going to do that as a job, uh, like to do commissioned work and stuff like that, your commission work should probably at a minimum pay for the supplies. Um, like bookbinding, besides maybe the initial cost on some of the equipment, and hopefully it's low. I haven't looked into it, but hopefully it's relatively cheap. But once you get some of those initial investments, um, it should pretty much be like extremely cheap and self-sustaining. You sell a book, you make some money, then you take that money and reinvest it, and you're not really uh, putting too much uh, money into it, except for sweat equity, your time, like your passion, um, and you should at least break even. I don't think if you go too deep into it and you're putting too much effort, it stops, I think, becoming a retirement job and starts becoming a job, and you're right back into the loop trying to figure out how to maximize profits and do things as efficiently as possible and do stuff like that. And well, that ain't the point at all of a retirement job. A retirement job is just maybe some little itch that you wanted to scratch, for a long time, and you never actually could because you didn't have the time to invest to learn how to do it, because you needed money. Well, at this point, you don't need money. You're retired, so time's on your side, and you can just go as easy or as hard as you want to go into that job, that trade, that skill, and kind of just do it for the fun of it. If you make a little bit of money, that's a little Benny. Um, but making money probably shouldn't be the point. It should be to basically just kind of fulfill a want or a need that maybe you've always wanted throughout your life, but you never actually had the opportunity. So, all right, so that's it. Even then, it's a 10 minute video, so I try to keep it under. But yep, that's your 5 criteria for what I think is would work for a post retirement job, um, or like an early retirement job. So if you liked it, like the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you want, leave a comment. I'd be kind of curious to hear some of y'all's um, ideas of what a post-retirement job, or some little scratch you always wanted to get itch. So yeah, leave in the comments below, and yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing. All right, bye.